Hey guys, in this video, I'm gonna cover market structure components that I look for obviously on the charts, right? So there are three market structure components that I look for using smart money concepts. The first one is order flow, the other one is accumulation, manipulation, distribution, others call it the power of three, others call it their own embedded names, and then the other one is swing and pullback, right? So these are the three most important concepts that I look for, right, in terms of market structure wise, right? So as you can see, I'm going to show you guys from these components, I'm going to show you how they work in hand, right? So these are quite consistent and they work in hand a lot. It makes things easy for me, right? So from the first component, what we see price being in a bullish trend, right? Breaking structure to the upside, pushing to the upside, breaking structure to the upside, right? Identify my trend. I make sure I do identify my trend. And then from there, what do we see? We see this formation of a pattern, right? Within this order flow movement right here, right? So we see price doing what? Let me try to clear up this, right? We see price swinging, pulling back, swinging, pulling back, swinging, pulling back, swinging, right? So already we established that a swing and pullback is within an order flow, right? Which is perfect, right? So from there, what do we see within this swing, right? The swing and pullback pattern, we see the accumulation and manipulation phase, right? So as price is swinging, pulling back, before it swings again, what do we see? We see price accumulating, right? And then manipulating, and then we see a swing, and then we see a pullback as distribution, right? So these concepts, guys, as I said, they work hand in hand. I hope I didn't lose you there. Let me try to go through this again, right? Let me try to go through this again. So from the order flow, we see price swing, pullback, swing, pullback, swing, pullback, swing, confirming that we're in a bullish trend, right? Breaking structure to the upside, making higher highs, making higher lows, right? So within this order flow, what do we see? We see price swinging and pulling back. The pattern that has been identified here that I usually trade, which is a swing, pullback. I look for blocks within these points of interest, and then I just shoot to the downside, right? So this pattern right here, we tend to see it within the order flow, which is we see a swing and then a pullback. Within the swing, we identify points of interest, right? So before we swing to the outside, what am I looking for? I'm looking for this formation right here. I'm looking for price to be manipulated. First of all, to be accumulated, consolidate, right? And then manipulated. And then I look for an OTE, jump on the swing, and then price distributes, right? So this right here is what I look for in the order flow, and it's quite consistent, guys. It makes things easier. Hence, smart money stands out as a strategy because it shows you the DNA of price, right? From the order flow to the swings and eventually to the power of three, right? So I'm gonna go on the charts right now, show you guys a couple of examples, both in a downtrend, on how you could have identified these components of structure and build confluence among them, right? So on these charts right here on the screen, we have a proper order flow, right? We get a proper order flow to the downside, right? While we're seeing we're in a bullish, we're in a bearish trend, while we're seeing price doing what? Forming highs that are lower than the previous highs and lows that are lower than the previous lows, just like that, right? Just like that. Okay, so what do we see here, right? We see price obviously being in this order flow, swing and pull back. We identify our swings and pull back, which is this the first swing that we have, swing and then pull back, right? From this swing and pull back, what do we want to see? We want to see price accumulate and then manipulate, and then expand, right? So what do we see? We see price do this, right? Accumulate. As you can see, this was the accumulation phase, guys, right? This was the accumulation phase. Price comes here, accumulates during the London, during the New York, during the London and the Asian session, right? Forms this kind of consolidation. And then once New York comes, what happens? It manipulates, right? Manipulates, and then it pushes to the downside, pulls back for an OTE, and then shoots down, right? So this kind of pattern is what we want to see, guys. This kind of pattern is what we want to see. price forming, right? As you can see, order flow, swing, pullback, consolidation, accumulation, manipulation, expansion, right? And then what do we have the next day? The next day, we have the same pattern, but the other way around. We have price accumulating, right? Because remember, we need to pull back now into the previous swing. So what did price, before price pulls back into the previous swing, what did it do? It accumulates and then it manipulates and then it shoots to the upside, right? So in this case, we would have treated this as a counter trend, right? As a counter trend move. But what happens on the next day? The next day we do the same thing. We have this accumulation right here, and then price manipulates and then continues with the actual trend, where we saw price now pushing to the downside, right? So here we just had dead market. This was a dead market right here. We didn't have any movement, but at this point we had the same pattern again, right? Asian session opened. We had this Asian range that was formed, highs there accumulating. Once London opened, we had this manipulation, price manipulates, grabs the liquidity up here, comes down here, pulls back, OTE setup, shoots down during New York, right? So as you can see, guys, these patterns play out more often, right? More often. So this right here is another example that I've given you guys, right? As you can see here, we have this accumulation phase, right? We got this accumulation phase that happened here, right? And then happened in Asia. Asia manipulates. After manipulating, it goes up, break structure, OTE setup, right? And then shoots it upside. So it's very consistent, guys. Before price pushes, it always does that. It always manipulates and then expands, right? Evidently, as you've seen. So those are the three components of market structure that I look for, which is order flow, power of three accumulation, manipulation, distribution, and swing and pullback setup, right? All right, guys, hopefully this video is helpful, and make sure to backtest the concepts, right? Make sure to reach out to me if you don't have the clarity and you need the clarity, and also see you in the next video.